Welcome back to my kitchen. This is Fabio from Italy, and tonight's recipe has a very special dedication. The recipe of tonight is dedicated to the elected President of the United States of America, Mr. Biden, and to his wife, Jill. I know that Jill has relatives in Italy, in the south of Italy, in Sicily, and I also know that Mr. President-elect is a passionate for pasta, and he always asks for capellini or angel hair with fresh tomato sauce. But first of all, let me start with a little review of his recipe as I found it on the Washington Post. On that recipe is written that you have to use for 6 to 8 people 4-5 big garlic cloves. I have to say this is not aglio, and unless you are looking for taking Mr. Trump away from you, or witches or vampires away from you, I think that a couple of garlic cloves are more than enough. Yes, fresh tomatoes, the nicest tomatoes that you can find in the season. Now it's very late season for tomatoes, and the best tomatoes in this season are dates tomatoes. These here, okay? So 1 kilogram of nice tomatoes, extra virgin olive oil as usual, basil, a lot of basil, spaghetti. These are not angel's hair or capellini. These are spaghetti, thin spaghetti. They are not spaghettini, but they are not thick spaghetti. I'm not that passionate for capelli d'angelo because they are too thin, in my opinion, and I don't like the feeling of capelli d'angelo or spaghettini in my mouth. And ground pepper. Obviously, ground pepper is a personal choice. I can go for ground pepper or for fresh chilies, but I would suggest not to use freshly ground pepper at the very beginning of the recipe, but to add it at the end of the recipe, grounding it directly on the plate. But let me show my version of spaghetti with tomatoes and basil. The first step is our 2 garlic cloves in half in 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil on fire. Fry a little bit until golden, not brown. Okay, the garlic is frying. It's golden, not brown. We can add tomatoes. I'm leaving garlic in the sauce till the end of the recipe and remove it at the end. If you like it, you can leave it there, but you know, it depends on your purposes. You want to avoid kisses, you want to keep vampires away, leave it there. A little bit of salt in the sauce. I'm not adding any sugar, Mr. President-elect, in my fresh tomato sauce. The reason is that I prefer to keep untouched the flavor of fresh tomatoes, even if they could be just slightly acid. The risk of having an acid sauce is higher with preserved tomatoes. So if you use canned tomatoes or crushed tomatoes, you can use something to counterbalance the acid, but you know, not to change the flavor and the taste of tomatoes. You can use a little bit of baking soda instead of sugar to counterbalance the acid of tomatoes. Okay, tomatoes are releasing their sauce. Now it's time to put basil. Remember that basil has to be cut by hand. If you cut basil with knives, not good. Keep the nicest leaves for the plate. Okay, the sauce is on its way, as you can see. I have removed the 2 garlic cloves. Water is boiling. So, salt in the water and pasta. I have to say that this recipe is definitely for vegan and vegetarian, and for that reason, but not only for that reason, it's dedicated also to Tiziana and to her beautiful daughter Isabella and Gabriella. Although I think that Tiziana has for sure personal recipe for her daughter, and Isabella and Gabriella will prefer their mother recipe. Okay, for me the sauce is ready. I have sauce here, but I'm keeping the structure of tomatoes, as you can see. I like this. If I crush them in a blender, it would be something different. If I've used peeled tomatoes, it would have been different. Fresh tomatoes should be seen as fresh tomatoes. Okay, we have cooked pasta for 2/3 of its cooking time in hot water. Now we can transfer it in the pan and finish the cooking with the sauce. Okay, pasta is ready. I'm not adding any butter, but extra virgin olive oil raw. Okay, you don't need butter because it's the starch from spaghetti that keeps everything together. Okay, now let's go to the plate. A bit of tomatoes on top. Brown pepper. And a nice leaf of basil. This is my recipe dedicated to the President-elect Mr. Biden and his wife Jill. Enjoy.